Hello friends, welcome to day 5 of Unit 4, Week 3. Today we are learning to determine the meaning of phrases as they are used in the text so that we can distinguish literal from non-literal language. So during Week 1 of Unit 4, we talked about the difference between literal meanings and non-literal meanings. I want to remind you that literal meanings are when the text means exactly what it says, and non-literal meanings is when the text does not mean what it says. So if you remember hyperboles were an example of non-literal meanings. Today we are learning a different form of non-literal language, and that is idioms. Today we are learning to identify idioms. What are idioms? An idiom is a phrase whose meaning cannot be interpreted literally. If I were to say to you, don't worry, this assignment is a piece of cake, what would I mean? Would I be handing you a piece of cake? Nope. A piece of cake is an example of an idiom. An idiom is an expression whose intended meaning is different from its literal meaning. Just as they do with hyperboles, writers use idioms to express their ideas more empathetically and to give their writing more of a conversational, sometimes humorous tone. So there are tons of idioms that we hear every day, like who let the cat out of the bag or don't spill the beans. And if you watch the video on the corner, the red video that says we finally understand idioms, you will see a lot of different idioms that we hear almost every single day. But for now, let's take a look at our assignment for today. Today, we are going to reread The True Jack to identify examples of idioms in the text. We're going to use surrounding words and context to determine the meanings of the idioms. Then we will complete the chart below to show the difference between the actual intended meaning of the idiom and the literal meaning of the idiom. Okay, so let's go ahead and go back to the story. And right here on the chart, it's telling me what page I will find an idiom in. So I'm going to go back to page 26. I'm going to look for an idiom, and then I will come back. So here I am, page 26. Mom. Well, he wasn't lazy. Decision making was not Jack's strong suit. He'd lose focus easily. He'd be milking the cow and then he'd see a butterfly and chase it. The milk would go sour. Now, Mom, I understand you were upset when Jack came home with those beans. I was tied to a fit. I mean, fit to be tied. What a foolish boy. I was sure the butcher had taken advantage of Jack. Okay, I'm going to stop right here because I see an idiom. I see a sentence that cannot be taken literal. And that's right here where it says, I mean, I was fit to be tied. So, tied, think about when I read that, I thought about a rope and the mom being tied. But I know that's not what she meant. When she says, I was tied to a fit, I mean, fit to be tied, I know she's expressing how angry she was when Jack came home with beans instead of money. So I know this is an idiom because these words cannot be taken literally. So now that I found my idiom, I'm going to go back to my chart. I'm going to show you how to fill it out. So I already wrote the page number we found it on. Now, what is the idiom? The idiom is fit to be tied. Who said it? Jack's mom. So what did she mean by this idiom? She meant, and that's what we're going to write in this orange box, she meant that she was very angry when Jack came home with beans instead of money from trading the cow. Now let's look at the blue blocks. It says, what is the literal meaning of this phrase? So literal, what do we see when she says fit to be tied? I visualize the mother being so angry that she had to be tied up so that she doesn't become aggressive towards Jack. That's how angry she was. And that's how I visualize her saying fit to be tied. So right next to it, where it says if the idiom were literal, we would see you are going to get to incorporate a picture of what that would look like. So if this were literal, I would see this right here. Jack's mom being tied tied up because she is so angry at Jack that she needs to be tied in order for her to not go after him. Okay, so that is what you're going to be doing in the next 2 slides. As you can see on the chart, I already wrote what page number you need to read. So you need to read page 25, and that's where you will find the idiom. And actually, you will find 2 idioms on page 25. So please go ahead, read page 25, then tell me what did they mean by the idiom, and then also tell me the literal meaning of the phrase, and then insert a picture of what that would look like if the idiom were literal. Once you are done, that is it for today.